there isn't much pleasure in his vocation for him. Mostly he just drives around Cape Cod thinking about his parents.
Yeah. He's a kid who's grown up in that world, and he doesn't take an awful lot of pleasure in it. And also, as you say, to be perfectly frank, he seems to have inherited the worst of his parents' abilities, such as they were, because Griffin's father was an enormously charismatic man and not a very good teacher. But he tended to attract athletes and frat boys.
A bovine yet willing graduate student.
And he would read, a 15-page term paper and write at the bottom of it, "Could be better."
Not overly engaged.
Not overly engaged. And yet his classes were always enormous because he always gave good grades and students kind of liked his charm and his kind of endearing incompetence. Whereas Griffin's mother always had very small classes because she was an extraordinarily rigid and demanding teacher, so that only the best students would endure what you'd have to endure taking a class from her. And Griffin seems to have inherited kind of the worst of both of those worlds. I mean, he'd like to be as rigorous as his mother is, but that would involve spilling an awful lot of ink on these stories and essays, and he can't quite bring himself to dismiss their efforts like his father. So genetically, he's in a kind of genetic gray world. He's inherited the worst of their temperaments and turned out to be, I think, a much worse teacher, really, probably.